Hello and welcome to this World of Warcraft raiding guide. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the 10-man heroic version of Shannox in the Firelands. In order to complete this fight we use 2 tanks, 3 healers and a mixture of both ranged and melee DPS. Before you attempt this encounter, it is generally a good idea that you have a decent understanding of the normal mode version. This encounter is relatively normal to the normal mode version. However, both Rageface and Rippling will gain a new ability called Feeding Frenzy, and both of the dogs will not be able to be killed. We'll first of all take a look at the Feeding Frenzy buff that the dogs will gain. This will increase their physical damage dealt by 5% for 20 seconds, and this is a stacking effect. So, people are gonna get hurt during this encounter. In order to deal with this, the best way we found was to make sure you're always trapping Rageface and removing his buff that he gets, as well as making sure Rippling stacks don't get too high either, otherwise your off tank will probably end up getting 2-shot by him. In order to do this you use the crystal prison traps that get thrown on the ground by Shannox. We also found it was very beneficial to have a rogue in the group and disarm the immolation traps. We used an arcane mage to stay on Rageface at all times. This is because when Rageface is face raging someone, arcane mages are normally most guaranteed to get the 30k damage crit on them. As well as that, if Rageface does target someone and needs its buffs resetting, preferably the arcane spec is more beneficial, as you have the improved blink which allows you to get a higher movement speed boost away from him. Alternatively, you could have a priest using his grip to drag you away from the dog if needed. We will now take a look at an overview of the Molten Fields and show you how we positioned both Shannox and Rippling. Now, by no means are we saying this is the ideal place to be killing this boss, but it's probably one of the better places. Now, as you can see on screen at the moment is a map of the Firelands, and to the left you've got your key. We've got blue for DPS, green for tanks and red for healers. Now if you look in the southwestern part of the map, that's where you'll be fighting Shannox. It's kind of like a T-junction where you'll be obviously clearing a load of trash in order to get to the boss. Yay, Trashlands. Now, if we look at the specifics of the positioning, the first dot at the bottom end, where the T-junction is, that'll be your first tank, and it'll be with Rippling. You want the red dot to then be like a healer that's really good at tank healing, so possibly a paladin, or in this case we had a priest. And that healer will need to be on the tank at all times. Then a bit further up north from that, we had the main tank who would take care of Shannox, and around that we had the DPS and 2 more healers. One of those healers would be assigned to the tank that's tanking Shannox, and the secondary healer is obviously going to take care of whoever's kiting Rageface, and also whoever should be taking unnecessary raid damage. So first of all we're going to look at how the tanks will take care of resetting their Jagged Tear debuffs that they're going to get, both from Rippling and also from Shannox when he does his Arcing Slash. Now as you're about to see in this clip, when Shannox hurls his spear, the tank that is on Rippling, who will be tanking him at the T-junction, needs to run with Rippling towards Shannox. Now this is because the further away from the spear you are, the more time you have to reset the Jagged Tear debuffs on both the Rippling tank and the Shannox tank. By running away from where the spear has been thrown, it will create a bigger period of time between Rippling getting the spear, taking it back to Shannox, and then getting back to the tank. So in theory you should have enough time. I think it's around 30 seconds you need. And as you also see, as Rippling is running towards the spear from the tank to pick it up and take it to Shannox, the Death Knight tank is using, I think it's Chains of Ice or something along those lines, and it slows down Rippling, so obviously it creates more time for them to get the debuffs off them. As with normal mode, the stacks will start to reset on the Shannox tank when he's thrown his spear. As a final note on this boss, we used Bloodlust at around 25% health because we wanted to nuke him down then, but you've also got to remember to keep on resetting stacks on the Rippling tank, and also make sure Rage Face is still getting trapped because they're still able to put out a lot of damage, and most of the time the stacks will build up very fast if you're just standing there letting the dog beat on you, and he'll end up getting around 30 stacks and he'll just two-shot someone. So make sure you're always aware of that. As always, thank you for watching, and if you have any comments, please leave them below. And also feel free to subscribe to the channel for future World of Warcraft related kill videos, and also guides throughout Firelands and the rest of Cataclysm. And good luck and have fun during this encounter.